Yes. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala khairil mursaleen. Muhammadin an-Nabi al-Ummi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd, yaqulu Allahu ta'ala fil Qur'an al-Kareem. Inna Allaha wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala an-nabi. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu tasliman. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Maulana Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The reason we're calling this the second revolution in America. I know y'all already know, you can tell by the discourse that my favorite subject in school was American history. That's what it was. And if it was as written, it would be wonderful. You know, think about it. People are oppressed in Europe, and they come over here and establish a new, religious feeling where all people are free, the light on the hill. And you study that history real in detail, then you become semi-conscious. Since you know the history so well, all you have to do is take everything you know and turn it upside down. That every battle that they had with the Indians, the one that they lost, was, they call it a massacre. And if they won, it was a great victory against the savages. So you got the history down, you got the dates, you got the whole show. All you have to do is turn it upside down, and all the freedom and what have you. It sounds good unless it meant freedom for white folks. And at first it meant freedom for wealthy white folks, because they had slaves here, but they had indentured servants too. The only thing an indentured servant could run off from Massachusetts colony and run down here to Jamestown, and he's free. Ain't nobody coming way down here to find him. And he's white, so. But the men you run off, we wear ID tag, and it's kind of hard to scrub it off. So, and even in the Constitution, in the beginning, this big freedom was for white men. They voted, and in the very beginning, you almost have to have property to vote. Okay. So the story starts to become in focus a little bit. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, it's great. The only thing is that it don't mean nothing to me and you. If some of you may remember 2009, one of our writings, in fact, a flyer, it was how to pump the FBI #2, I think, and it related to our Declaration of Independence. So we have a quest that we've been on for a long time here. And if everybody remembers, you'll be able to fit in everything that we're going to talk about today. We call this the second revolution because the first was incomplete and it was non-inclusive. But this second American Revolution is an inclusive revolution. That God willing, it'll be made by the people of America. Not America the Great. If y'all remember a couple of lectures on America the Good. Okay. So, we're moving toward a goal. Everybody remembers our ayats. So we have our mission, call people to Allah. And say with pride and vigor, I'm a Muslim and I'm proud of it. It may be between you and he or them or whatever. There was hatred become as it was a best friend. You know, technically we would become their wali. This is hard to swallow. You almost have to, you have to remind yourself every day. It's like white people, some of the big speakers, they say, basically it's like a prayer. They say that you have to say, get your goals out, and you read them 3 times a day, 5 times a day. And you have to look in the mirror and say, I like myself, I like myself. Now that's for white folks. This is from their biggest boys. If white folks have to say it, man, what kind of condition is the Negro lying in? Because the whole thing is set for white folks. Well, it was. I kind of feel sorry for them now. All the niggas in the movies getting the white girls, I know that's not, they shouldn't do it like that. I mean, you know what I mean? Maybe one Negro every now and then, but not every film, right? Or a heavy percentage. He's going to remember those. If it ain't but 3 Negroes out of 10 films getting the white girl, the only one he's going to remember those 3. And it technically is not fair.
Like the battle between us.
I actually like
she knew he'd get married. But when she got back,
right.
She cut him loose.
But you know what? That was a good human. That would be, I like movies like that because that's possible.
Right.
And after you go through a struggle with that with somebody,
right.
You develop
a bond.
A bond that, hey, we can do anything. And that's why nobody was comfortable whatever they was doing. That's real. That's possible. I like the movie, and it's okay if you get the white lady, it's fine. And in fact, I like the white lady too, because she's older. When she was the young girl in Titanic, you know, who cares anything about a little young pretty girl? But when they get around 40-something, they start looking to, well, I mean, when you get older, they start, that's not nobody paying attention. Let's get back to the revolution, the second revolution. The revolution, the conquest of the West, America spreads its power all over the world. Then we have a Martin Luther King, a Malcolm X, and all those people. And a lot of people would consider that a second revolution, but it wasn't. Like the first, it was incomplete. And it was corrupted. Now we have our turn. When I first heard this, I thought the man, actually the chief said it in the 1980s, and he was early in 81, 82, maybe. He said, America is not Babylon, America is Nineveh. I said, well, we have a scriptural disagreement, you know, because I don't see no signs Nineveh in America. Now, remember we talk about writing your own future? We're here in America, and was the Constitution, the preamble, promote the common defense?
We the people.
Hmm?
We the people.
Yeah, we the people of the United States, in order to form and more perfect union, do ordain and establish this Constitution, promote the general welfare, provide for the common defense, something like that. We start with that. America does not promote the general welfare, especially for black people. America does not protect the black community, it attacks the black community. We've been hearing about all the shooting and all of this stuff, okay, and stuff about Dean Wood on the radio today. Look, black people in America were not killers of each other. They brought the reason for killing each other. They brought drugs into the community. Then after we began to kill each other, they said, now we have a reason to suppress you. They can pat you down. Like 30 years ago, they was talking that stuff. High crime community, you can stop and frisk. Stop and frisk came in as soon as Nixon got in. Okay. I'm going to try to speed it up, but we need a second revolution. This revolution would lead to, if it's a three-stage process, to get to the utopian ideal. Well, you can't just jump to there like we was talking. I believe it takes some preparation. So the second revolution in America is the moving toward America the good. Now, part of our approach, and I'm going to start talking about what we're talking about. We're getting ready to go through another cycle. Masjid, this, that, and another, da, 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 da. But we're going to have 5, 6, 7, 8 year period that we have to clean the environment up and prepare the environment for the next step that we're going to take. What do I mean by that? We have to confront the first revolution. We have to confront all the guidelines and all the distortions that have came into the new laws. What people live now has no, especially black people, the Constitution has no relevance in their life at all. What they fought the war for. It has no relevance at all. And especially the Declaration of Independence. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So this America the good, we have to work through fear, we have to work through hatred, we have to work through anger, and everything can wind up where? 41, 33, 4, and 5. The best call people to Allah, work righteous deeds, and say that I'm a Muslim. So that means someone will have to have experienced the whole American policy in order to have a feel But where the changes are needed. Now, let's get to what I'm talking about. It's not only public relations, but it's values for the 21st century. What does that mean? Well, we're going to start from right now is litigation. Of course, we've always been talking about litigation. But litigation on a higher level. We have a short litigation list. Before I go through the litigation list, I want to give you an idea of why. This is Victory of Islam over Combined Forces of American Zionism. This is timeline events. I'm going to read the whole thing. 4/23/13, abdul-alim, Imam Musa's grandson, assassinated by functionaries, security apparatus of FBI and OPD. We went through why we believe that we have all these phone lists, you know what I mean, and what happened, that we went over. 9/4/13, Imam Musa denied re-entry to the USA Flight 207, Johannesburg, South Africa, to Washington, D.C. tour in South Africa, sponsored by IPCI, Islamic Propagation Center International, and Rauf, Refocus and Upliftment Foundation, Message, Drug-Free Society, or No Economic or Social Progress, host declared the most successful tour by a foreign guest. I'm getting some of that booklet I might have showed y'all, that booklet. Every now and then you see a few pictures of me, and it's a big poster, Imam, welcome Imam Musa. This is the most successful, they say, the most successful tour by a foreign guest. Now remember, this is Ahmed Dinat's organization, and Rauf, Refocus and Upliftment Foundation. We upstart that in 98, 97 and 98. In South Africa, if y'all remember, I used to go there a lot. I would say it's the most successful drug program that I've seen. Europe, America, it works. It's a spiritual. They have, I showed y'all pictures of they had a lot of Sufism hooked into it too. So it was successful. And I used all the information that I had known, and I advised them not to do any Western type drug treatment program. Don't forget now, I told them years before that you're going to be hit with drugs, that you have your freedom in South Africa, your potential more than anybody's, so you're going to be hit. And here's the doggone thing, not only they arrest me, they give me the note on the duty roster for the Johannesburg airport. So when I need witnesses, I got the date, and I got everybody's name there that was working that day. And so when I sue them, which is getting close now, I got the whole duty roster, and I make sure when they mess with me that people remember, well, yeah, I seen him, I don't remember what so and I'll fill in the rest. Okay, so now I have the ambassadors of the U.S. Consulate and ambassador, all that stuff. That's right here. That's what this card is. Well, they sent me over there. Check performed flight to South Africa 207, 4th September. Do not board customer, do not board customer-reams. Don't let him on the flight. So I stayed there another couple of days. 12/1/13. Oakland program, psychological guerrilla warfare has worked. Mukhtar and Khadijah went ballistic with unsubstantiated allegations and accusations against Imam Musa. They were supported by a collection of local misfits and druggies, both dealers and users. The more Imam Musa proves his case against the NSA, the FBI, and TSA, and the Oakland PD, this produced inflammatory statements from Mukhtar Khadijah, who should have been happy with Imam Musa's statements of clarification. So I'm teaching on psychological guerrilla warfare. A Sunday program. They walk in right in the middle of the program with a camera, and they set up the camera and they start hollering and cussing right there. And then they done work to keep all the good people away, and everybody in there, except maybe 2 of my sons and a couple more. Everybody else is their crew. So, the way they coming in, they guarantee that we're going to get something out of this guy. You know, we're going to start fitna. And they just had it. Remember now, it ain't nobody else left. They done got rid of Imam Jamil. And the only one left from the old days is me. All the brothers are still in exile. And the head of the BLA, that's us together when we got out. It just had time, hadn't gotten out yet. So, 12/13, third outburst by Khadijah and Mukhtar. Purpose to destabilize Friday prayer. Mukhtar steals the cat box after Jummah. 12/20/13.